Wrestling ring, rumor sling, who's gonna bling? Champ gotta beef, gotta dodge the teeth. New faces, old graces, masked aces, belts and bruises, night full of excuses. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Backstage drama, full of armor, who's the charmer? Tag teams, break dreams, plot schemes, injuries and mysteries, chasing victories. Gossip wild like a runaway child. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Big moves, pay-per-views, breaking all the news. Scandals revealed, deal sealed, who'll be healed? Trash talkers, night stalkers, ring walkers. Next big match, can't scratch this batch. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud.
And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ango Show. My name is Ango, and we are live. The post shows are back. We brought Billy back too. What up, what up, what up? Okay, hold on. I don't think they can hear you because I suck. It's all good.
Oh, no.
All right, now they can hear you. Ladies and gentlemen.
They can hear me now.
Monday Night Raw just concluded on, I was going to say USA Network. That's crazy because they've been talking
Netflix.
Netflix, like crazy. Raw on Netflix just concluded. Listen, I swear to God, I feel like these post shows are really insane when the chat goes off. So,
For sure.
So let's break it down really quick because we're going to talk about Raw. We're going to have a very healthy conversation, the things that we liked, didn't like, that type of thing. But I need the chat to go off because we are going to engage with the chat. And of course, when we do these live streams, as you guys know, when you drop a super chat, it guarantees that your questions or comments get read on the stream. To those that are members, you are high priority. So if I'm looking at the chat and your name is in green and you got the badge right next to your name, I'm probably going to read your chat before somebody who is not a member, just because it is a perk. Now, if you guys want to become a member, you can do so. It starts at $1.99. We got a Discord that has VIP access. We're taking Discord very, very serious in 2025. There's a whole bunch of emotes and all this crazy stuff. But we are going to talk about Raw on Netflix. And of course, if you guys want your questions read, guaranteed, drop a super chat. It doesn't matter the amount. We will stop what we're doing and we'll address it. But also, if you drop a super chat that is $5 or more, it's going to activate something called TTS, which I fiddled with this a little bit during the afternoon streams. And essentially what that means is it's going to interrupt us. A robot is going to read your comment. And we'll see what works best. But I need the chat to go off because this was a historic episode of WWE Raw.
Dude, for sure.
What just like first impression? Well, what was your first impression of it?
I mean, if we're talking about just like what it looked like, wow, right? I think that's like the first thing to say is just wow. The wow factor was completely there.
Sure.
The one thing about this episode was that it was very much for the new viewer.
Yeah.
I noticed that. It was very much for the new viewer. Which ultimately, whether people want to be mad at it and want to say bad things about it, it wasn't for fans like us right away. Yeah. We're going to get our time to shine. They were in front of 80% of the world today, and they needed to show that.
100%.
So ultimately, they did a phenomenal job with the production, presentation, everything. It was amazing.
I mean, that's really like the big takeaway is I hope some of these elements that they did tonight, like I pray that they keep doing it. We got the return of moving graphics. So
yes.
WWE heard everybody loud and clear. The moving graphics are back. Just a couple things that they did being on Netflix that you might have not expected. So yes, the ring mat is black with the logos. So of course they have sponsorships and they're making that sponsorship money. The referees have a new shirt, black shirt. Gives it a very like NXT takeover feel, which I like.
Oh, for sure.
So we got that. We have the new commentary table, which has like the LED thing on it, which I thought looked really cool.
Love it.
The new stage, obviously. New graphics in general are really impressive. Netflix is no longer censoring, so that's pretty huge. I mean, a whole bunch of F-bombs from the
I was about to say the fans were all over it.
The fans were
Can
eating
we
it
talk
up.
about-
So
Can we talk about Travis Scott?
yeah. I mean, Travis Scott literally made his entrance with Jey Uso smoking a blunt or a joint or whatever.
Dude, I mean, no censorship here.
No censorship. Obviously, WWE ain't gonna be flashing titties on the screen, but like
No.
it's
But you got some leeway.
yeah, they're very much relaxed, which is cool.
Yeah.
What else? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Well, we had The Rock, obviously.
We'll talk about the segments and stuff, but like from
But you're talking about just in general from where we're coming from.
yeah, the F-bomb is completely allowed in the crowd, so that's cool. I mean, production was just a next level thing. The
I was about to
drones-
say, I don't think you're missing anything.
Yeah.
The drone shots, yes.
the drone shots were really good. Just in general, though, this was, I mean, I think Billy kind of hit it on the head with this, guys. As far as like, this was for your lapsed fan. This was for your casual fan. Let me just kind of run down what they announced for next week. So today they aired a vignette for Penta. They officially revealed Penta is coming to Raw. Interestingly enough, in the graphic, it just says Penta. So I don't know if he's going to be Penta El Cero Miedo. Like, I don't know what they're going to do as far as name goes. But they did confirm that he's coming. There was a segment with Chad Gable and the Creeds and Ivy Nile with Adam Pearce. And it's been set up for next week. Chad Gable's going to go up against a luchador who is apparently the best in the business. Obviously, they're setting up Penta versus Gable. So
that's going to be fire.
Next week is going to be where you get most of the in-ring action. We also had confirmed for next week as well, Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. Sheamus versus Kaiser. All of those matchups that were announced for next week did have moving graphics. So they brought that back. Finally, they were really, really good graphics, by the way. So just a huge production change from previous, from being on USA Network. I want to see some of this stuff follow along with SmackDown. I don't know if they will do that, but
I'm interested to see now how they're going to go about it outside of the Intuit Dome.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that was like one of my biggest takeaways is like, okay, this is cool. And this arena is amazing. And we knew that arena was amazing, especially as basketball fans.
Yeah.
Where, what are you going to do when you're, let's in Missouri? You know what I mean? What's it going to look like there? Is it going to be the same? Or are we going to dim it down a little bit, kind of keep the same feel, but just kind of pull back a little bit? I'm interested to see what they're going to do, especially next week.
Yeah, for sure. And I think follow-up is going to be really important. But, like that's obviously very true. And then you got to, you have to factor in, it's the first one. It's the premiere. So with those announcements, those are like NXT takeover style matches. I mean, you're getting a massive, massive card for next week. I will say, I think it was a missed opportunity to not have Penta debut tonight.
Same.
I was a little disappointed in that, especially based on the segment that we got last week. But again, this episode of Raw, I think what WWE was really trying to nail down was, hey, we're on Netflix. This is a massive deal. There's tons of celebrities there. I mean, you name the celebrity, they were there. tons of legends, tons of people in attendance. And I think for WWE, like if you're somebody who just logged into Netflix and you didn't know about WWE, or you didn't know WWE was on Netflix, you're clicking it. And to give a little bit of a perspective, my brother hasn't watched wrestling in probably like 8 to 10 years. My brother tuned in and immediately he had texted me being like, yo, this is actually like really insane. Just because you can see the difference from what they were before to this. Clearly WWE is taking the production aspect seriously. But today was a show for the lapsed fans. And I'm going to be honest, when you look at the rundown, and we'll talk about it, it felt like if they were ever to do a WrestleMania on TV, this is what it would be like.
Yes.
Which, not going to lie, like all the promos, all this celebrity stuff, I knew it was coming. I think it was a little too much. I would have liked to see at least 1 or 2 more matches on the card. I understood why they did it, but hopefully for WWE, this is a turning point. Like I look forward to tomorrow when they drop the press release about how many people watched. I look forward to seeing how they follow up for sure.
You seen they were already gloating. They were gloating about strictly about like how it was the biggest arena gate in history. So yeah, I mean WWE, I think next week we're going to see a much different feel, and I think it's going to be more pulled back a little bit, and we're going to start to see what it's going to look like on TV and, you know, things of that nature.
Yeah, for sure. I think you'll see a little bit. The Intuit Dome, like for example, the lights on every chair, you're not going to see that you know, next week or whatever, but I do think it's relatively cool that they really maximized the arena, and that's actually how it starts off too. So let's do a couple shout outs really quick. Miles Jubert Roberson has been a member now for 19 months. So we got an extension. Shout out to Miles. Miles says, felt this was a fire Raw. Glad Rhea won. Hopefully this feud is done. Love that Roman won, but I still don't trust where Paul and Rock loyalty fully lies. We'll get to that for sure. Shout out to Justin Kennington back in the mid card. Justin, thanks for becoming a member again. And Justin Kennington dropped a $1.99 super chat. Penta versus Gable is going to slap. And that is absolutely true. And we'll get to that in a little bit because I do believe that is the right opponent for Penta.
For sure.
Outstanding decision, to be honest. Like if you're looking at it from a middle finger to AEW, you put Penta in the ring with Chad Gable, right?
Well, yeah, I think it's one of those things where, I mean, number one, it speaks so highly about Chad Gable, too.
For sure.
You know,
there's times, too, like we could probably go back in streams and find it, but like Penta is a great worker. He's going to go in there and have a great match with Chad Gable. But if you go back to previous streams, like Chad Gable was a name I know for a fact. If I look at it, I'm sure I could find super chats from old streams like talking about people in AEW who could have great matches with people in WWE. Chad Gable's name always gets pulled up. So the fact that WWE,
because he's one of those guys.
Yeah, they just know he's a great in-ring worker and he's also a great character. It's going to be perfect for Penta. It's going to show that Penta could really just go off, and that's exciting to me personally. I think that's really exciting.
Yep.
I want to see how they present him. And I have a very strong feeling after today, graphics wise, I think Penta's going to look great. I think they're going to have the presentation and the entrance down. I do have a little bit of a concern about entrance music, but Def Rebel kind of, I don't know if their contract ended in 2024. I don't know, but Def Rebel is definitely not a choice.
The music hasn't been it recently.
I mean, listen, bro, we got, for those who don't know, like literally the theme song to the Hango show is AI made. So just keep that in mind.
That's so
like,
funny.
But like, I feel like you could literally have AI do better music than Def Rebel. So WWE, if you need my help, I could do that for you. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'll figure it out on AI.
Def Rebel sucks ass, and
they do.
That's the unfortunate part. A couple more shout outs. Phil, he has become a member for 6 months. Shout out to Phil. He says, I love tonight's show. Raw on Netflix killed it. Guys, if you don't know, Phil is also a content creator. He's going to be doing a little bit more in the YouTube space. He's doing stuff on TikTok. He has an open invite to come onto the show.
Shout out my man Phil. He messaged me on Twitter.
Yeah, good dude. So once he gets his equipment and everything's all moved in and ready to go, you guys could expect to see him here. Also, that's really the big thing is like eventually I want to have like 20 people in the same live stream just talking and shooting the shit. So it's going to be a good time. So shout out to Phil. Tattoo Nick dropping a $4.99 super chat. He says, I thought there was too many commercials, but I love the overall presentation. So before we actually do a rundown, I didn't get any commercials.
See, I did.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Everybody had like a different experience. That was the only thing. My stream was really good. No streaming issues.
My stream was great. Just a lot of commercials.
So I
wouldn't even say it didn't feel like a lot to me though.
Yeah,
like it felt like a normal Raw.
So I get Netflix through T-Mobile.
Okay, so your phone carrier.
I was just watching Squid Game 2 the other night, binge watched it, and I got a shit ton of ads on that. But for WWE Raw, I didn't get any commercials.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so I noticed that. I think like even looking on Twitter or whatever, like a lot of people did have commercials. For some reason, I didn't have any. So I was seeing like the interviews that they were doing with wrestlers. There was an interview with like Miz and Karrion Kross that was.
See, I didn't see any of that.
So I saw that, but on Twitter, people were saying that was during the commercial. So I don't know. That might not be a consistent experience for me. Next week, I'll follow up with you guys on that. But I don't have an ad-free version of Netflix. Unless T-Mobile changed something today, I've been using Netflix with ads. And like I said, just the other night, I was watching Squid Game 2. Which that left me a little pissed off. I don't even want to talk about that. But
well, it sounds like you got lucky. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I got kind of lucky with that, guys. But yeah, Tattoo Nick, I'm sorry to hear that you got to deal with all those commercials. Thank you for the $4.99, brother. Appreciate you and your loyalty. Right Hand Cam, 24 months as a member on the channel. Shout out to Cam. He says tonight's Raw was good. 9 out of 10. Fire emoji. Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think. You know, they did a great job of presenting this. If I was somebody who didn't watch WWE and I clicked on it, I'd be like, okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. I have my thoughts.
Yeah. So shout out to Cam. And then also we have a new member. WWE Fan 15 has now joined the Job Squad. So shout out to WWE Fan 15. There is no comment with that, but I appreciate you joining. If you have Discord, make sure you join. I'll get you in the VIP access. Also, let's go. We are doing for VIP members on the channel, for those who have paid subscriptions, the numbers have actually increased a lot in the last few days. So I appreciate that. I prefer that you guys sign up for memberships during the stream so I could at least like thank you and like shout you out. But people have been joining the channel in the last few days. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing too, I've been getting questions and I can see like the analytics of it, but people are asking about merchandise. So for members, I will be offering a discount through the system on www.ango.live. And on the platform, if you guys choose to buy a t-shirt or a hat or stickers or whatever it may be, if you're a member, I believe the discount is 15%. And you'll get an email about it for members.
I'll become a member tonight because I'm about to go cop some Ango merch.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, whatever.
Might as well.
I got you.
So
right, exactly. Who's it gonna hurt?
Yeah. So shout out to WWE Fan 15. Thank you guys. That's enough shout outs for now. Let's talk about the show. The show opens up with this cold open. It's a video package, and again, we're talking about explaining what WWE is to those casual fans, the people who don't necessarily watch. What an amazing produced video package. What I thought was super cool, though, was in the Intuit Dome, they actually had like this tarp covering the ring.
Yeah.
And the fans were able to see the video package on there instead of like LCD screens or whatever, LED screens. So that was really dope. I thought that was really cool. The video package shows up. Next thing you know, Triple H is in the ring, welcoming everybody to the new era. Yeah.
Out of the curtain was insane.
What do you think of the Triple H promo?
So I actually covered it on my TikTok. I'll tell you this, man. I think so. I seen it like floating around Twitter earlier, so you know we had a little early access to it.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of hit it, you know, right there. It's one of those things where if you're a casual fan and you needed to explain what a heel was, what a baby face was, you know, what a shoot was, what a work was. This was the best way to do it, because now people come in with a little bit more of an understanding to what WWE actually is. And you really got to see inside of what, like, it felt like to be a fan, because what I tried to do while watching it was like step away from, you know, the mindset of like, oh, I'm a hardcore fan. I already know that they're talking about this. I already know what this is. I don't need to know this. I had to take myself out of that and remember there for a moment, like 80% of the world is watching these people right now. Every single home damn near has access to this. This is the best way to introduce your product. And then to have Triple H have the curtain drop, dude, it felt, needless I say, like, it felt like a circus. You know what I'm saying? In the best way possible.
Yeah.
Like, just everything that went with it. It was just outstanding. I'm almost speechless from the production side.
Yeah, it was a really good way to set the tone. Kind of like letting people know this is a new era, kind of like reminding people that what you're about to get is a complete game changer. And people need to understand, like, this is what separates WWE from everybody. They understand this. I mean, we could talk about AEW, or how about we just go a little bit further than professional wrestling? The NBA just did the Emirates Cup mid-season tournament, and they don't do anything presentation-wise to make it feel important. It's just basketball
besides
games.
The court change.
Exactly. So, like, you know, with the NBA, the NBA is kind of like struggling to appear bigger and better and like this global sport, right? And then the NFL, the only time the NFL really has something that makes them feel special is when it's the Super Bowl halftime performance, or most recently with Christmas Day, Netflix had the football games.
Netflix.
Yeah, but other than that, like, I feel like sports have done a really terrible job of presenting themselves as like a bigger deal.
Yeah, dude, it's really funny. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, there is just nobody who does it better than WWE. Yeah. There's not a company that I can think of that genuinely does it better than they're innovators.
Yeah,
that's what they are.
This is history in the making. I mean, it's the first ever regularly episodic show that's live on Netflix on a streaming platform. So completely game changer. And I think that's what WWE does. Like, they are very good at separating themselves from the pack. And, you know, I don't even want to talk about AEW, because I think everybody should look at WWE and just realize, like, man, like, that's even okay, listen, if WWE underperforms number wise, right? They did a really good job of making me believe that trillions of people were tuning in. Perception's reality, my friends.
Perception is reality. Very simple.
So yeah, they definitely did a great job with that. We get after Triple H, The Rock comes out, massive pop.
What a hype, man.
The Rock is just, this was corporate Rock. Dressed as heel Rock, but he comes out.
But he was corporate Rock. He's hugging people, giving high fives, kissing people on the head.
Well, what's all that between him and Cody?
I didn't like it. Something feels fishy. All of it feels fishy. It's almost like, yeah, Cody, we're friends. Like, something like that.
Cody goes, stabs him in the back.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? How's Mama Rhodes?
This was interesting because The Rock basically disregarded his current feuds tonight.
Yes, he did. And, you know, it was super interesting because I was sitting there, and the whole time, I'm not going to lie to you, I was thinking to myself, I was like, especially like with the Cody thing, I was like, oh, he's going to go like walk up to Cody, give him like a look or something like that. Yeah. Because I knew in the beginning, I knew he was coming out as corporate Rock. Yeah. Right? As a fan, I can recognize that. When we get into the first match, we could talk a little bit more about what I actually thought may happen.
So let's do that. Let's get to the first match. Break it down, Billy.
Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Tribal Combat, second Tribal Combat match of all time. And Michael Cole did a phenomenal job at explaining each and every single person that was involved in this match. Yeah. I cannot lie about this. I think when it comes to picking commentary, who's your guy? Michael Cole's the guy. He made he didn't insult anybody's intelligence who was a regular fan watching and has been consistently watching. So he explained who everybody was really well. He explained how Roman hadn't been pinned up until the match with Cody in so many days, and that's why this match was going to be super crazy, because if he got pinned, just et cetera, et cetera. But the Tribal Combat match takes place, and my word, dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I was super excited about this match, and it delivered more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Because I knew that they were going to have shenanigans in this match. It was the Tribal Combat. We were there at the first one with Jey Uso and him.
Yeah.
So looking at this match, I was like, oh, there's for sure a lot of shenanigans. We know Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga. We also know Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso. We knew that these guys were all going to play a factor. What I didn't know was going to play a factor was Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I genuinely did not. I did not see Kevin Owens interrupting this match, but when he stunned Roman Reigns, this is serious. I'm being super serious when I say this. This isn't just for YouTube. I genuinely thought Roman was going to lose there. It was double-sided. I did not know who was going to win this match, which I was a fan of, because I know me personally, I had made numerous videos on how Paul was going to turn on Roman, and the turn, I always predicted it would happen tonight.
Yeah.
Right? But again, we go back to what we talked about in the beginning of this show, was that this was for a casual fan.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that, as wrestling content creators, I think a lot of us missed out on, is that we missed that part where, oh, there's a lot of new fans coming. So we predict all these things to happen. Realistically, not much of it was actually going to happen. They were just going to continue to tell the stories, and we'll get to it later on.
Yep.
So we get The Rock at the end.
So
The Rock comes up.
I want to interrupt you for before you bring up The Rock. The one thing I did like was, for those who may have missed it, we had this situation where Cody comes out to make the save for Roman, and Cody gets Kevin Owens away. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, though, is they figured out a way to intertwine the storyline that's happening on SmackDown onto Raw, which is a good promotional tactic for them to promote SmackDown. But I just wanted to say, like, commentary actually matters, and Pat McAfee and Michael Cole have done a phenomenal job, especially with this match, setting the tone, as you kind of said, with explaining Roman. Phil even mentioned it. This is the first singles match since WrestleMania for Roman, since he lost to Cody.
And Michael, I'm pretty sure he said that too, didn't he?
So this is like, they did a really good job of thoroughly explaining it. There was a missed opportunity to have that big moment, that big turn, that big whatever it may be. However, WWE did not book this show for us, right? WWE is keeping some stuff in their back pocket. And I think maybe the reason is they already have the attention on this show. They need to keep people hooked. And I think they will deliver that moment at another time. And maybe they save that for SmackDown being 3 hours. Or Roman is set to return. It does get confirmed that he'll be back, I think, January 27th.
27th. Yep.
So maybe they'll save it for another period of time. But I do feel like they missed that. Now you can continue with The Rock.
So The Rock, he comes. First, I want to talk about the shot. So Roman wins the match. Roman ends up ultimately winning. He gets handed or not, by this time he hadn't yet. But there was a shot. And it's like Roman, like, he's like looking this way, and he's just got like his head down, and like in his peripheral, you see The Rock just standing there. No music, no nothing. He's just standing there. If you can, and maybe you didn't watch the show and you're just tuning in here, go back, watch the show, because I'm here to tell you that shot, I don't know what it was about it. I was just mind blown by this shot. Maybe it's because I like cameras and stuff like that, but I was just intrigued by that. So we get that shot.
Super chatted $9.99.
Go ahead.
I
see it.
Roman would lose because I felt it was going to be too easy to give Roman back the Ula Fala first try, but this makes sense, especially after the stare down and hand in hand by Rock and Roman.
Okay, so for those who missed it, Phil dropped a $9.99 super chat. He says, I thought Roman would lose because I felt it was going to be too easy to give Roman back the Ula Fala first try, but this makes sense, especially after the stare down and hand by Rock and Roman. So let's just tie that to what you're saying. The camera angle, There was a
Yes.
specific camera angle, and if I was able to screenshot it at the time, which I will actually, just so you guys know, I will start including screenshots of key moments on these shows moving forward into the stream. I wasn't able to do it for this one. However, there was a moment, I know what you're talking about with the camera angle. And
Yes.
that camera angle to me really tells me they're saving the moment. Maybe
sure.
maybe The Rock isn't working WrestleMania this year. I don't know. And maybe that's why they're saving the moment. But I agree with Phil. I definitely thought Roman was losing. I thought for sure there was a couple moments where it looked like he was losing, and Roman Reigns is the king. Roman Reigns is the king of 2.9 seconds kick out. So
always.
Got to give credit to Solo Sikoa too, because I feel like him in this new bloodline, the Jacob Fatu coming in, like everybody hit their stuff. Everybody looked good. I think it legitimized Solo Sikoa, but
For sure.
this definitely made sense. And when you get that stare down and the handshake, and listen, The Rock dedicated tonight to his ancestors and his father and his grandparents. And
Yep.
you could tell even Roman had a moment after he won the match. He did a sign of the cross and pointed up to the sky. Obviously, we know about the deaths in his family as of late.
Yeah.
This was a little bit more to do with paying homage, family business being taken care of. The Rock and Roman is put to the side for now. It is going to happen. Now I think it's going to be even a bigger deal. Because something didn't happen tonight, I think it's going to be a bigger deal.
For
because
sure.
we're all anticipating it.
And for me, I was like, oh, he'll probably maybe talk about how he's going to enter the Royal Rumble and things like that. It doesn't look like we're going to have the year of Roman and Rock this year, at least right now. I'm just going to be honest. It doesn't feel that way after what happened, what took place tonight.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I am okay with that. I'm not mad at that. I think that opens up a lot of slots for WrestleMania, and that's a whole different topic that we can get to later down the line.
Yep.
But when it comes down to it, this moment, it felt special in the ring. It told a story. Again, I think Paul Heyman does such a good job at just standing outside in the apron and just making these faces.
Yeah.
While The Rock and Roman were, giving each other the little stare down and stuff like that. And if you noticed one thing, I can't remember, but I don't think The Rock put his ones up.
I don't think I saw it either.
I don't believe I seen that. So that kind of tells you, okay, The Rock has fallen back a little bit, especially if you look at the reason like why Solo left Roman, you can almost tell the same story with The Rock. You were doing ultimately so good and you were the tribal chief and then you lost. And I think with Roman, you almost have to let him continue to fall down a little bit. Like, he got the Ula Fala back and stuff like that. And that was against Solo. But he has more stories that have to be obtained before we reach The Rock again.
Yeah.
It's almost like just a restarting factor.
Yeah. There's more to the story. That's what I'll say. Shout out to Phil for the $9.99 super chat. Guys, remember, super chats are guaranteed answered on the stream. And as a reminder, do not forget, because it's so important to remember, if you are a member, you are guaranteed priority in the chat. So for example, I wanted to take a look. Todd Crow agreed with us. He's a member of the channel, and he says WWE booked this show for new viewers. So I want to say, even though my complaint is that maybe they missed that key moment, maybe it was a missed opportunity to really get people going. The idea wasn't to sell The Rock as a heel. The idea was to sell The Rock as a spokesperson leading this company in this new revolution, right? And so
The Rock.
I get it, right? I understand why they would do that. It's a very smart business decision. However, I do hate the fact that they kind of put storytelling on pause for a minute for that to happen. So
yeah, for sure.
I understand it. I don't really accept it or approve of it, but I understand
as a hardcore watcher. Yeah, I didn't approve of it.
Well, it's just like for so long, we haven't seen him since Bad Blood. So you don't see this guy since Bad Blood and you're like, okay, cool. That moment's going to happen. It didn't happen. And not even just with The Rock, but we didn't even get a moment with Paul Heyman, which I thought was very interesting. Because there's been a lot of that. So Also, Darth Bane, he's a member on the channel. He says, does Solo get booted out of the bloodline for losing? And I actually want to address this because this was something I was thinking about.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to address this. So let's talk about it. For those who missed it, Darth Bane, he's one of the members in the chat. He says, does Solo get booted out of the bloodline for losing? So, Billy, I'm going to answer this really quick, and then you can kind of respond.
Yep.
Tell me you agree, disagree. But I actually do believe Solo Sikoa is going to be booted. I actually made a video on Morango a while ago that Jacob Fatu will be the next tribal chief, for this new bloodline.
Yep.
I actually think this is going to expedite the process. I think Solo Sikoa as a leader, he's in a very interesting spot because he should be winning. However, ever since that moment where he took it upon himself to say Jacob Fatu cannot have that championship opportunity against Cody on SmackDown, Solo told him to stand back. When he did that, that was the key ingredient to this recipe that they're cooking, right? That was the seed being planted. And I do believe they will get to the point where Solo Sikoa gets booted. I think this was the second key moment in which WWE has basically told us, hey, something's going to happen here. So now, really quick, just yes or no. Do you agree with that or disagree?
So I will agree.
Okay, really quick, before you explain, I'm going to have you explain, but just give me a second.
Yep.
So you agree that Solo Sikoa will get booted, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me why, but I also want you to tell me when.
So the win, I think you do it after WrestleMania. I think we wait a little while. I don't think it can happen so soon because I think there's a third thing that must happen. We talk about the keys. And like I said, I agree with you. I think they're missing a key. This was important. This was huge. But it doesn't ultimately give you a reason to necessarily pull Solo all the way out. Because the thing is they still have, Jacob's walking around, I love you, Solo. You know what I'm saying? There's still other things that have to fall into place. What those things are, I'm not 100% sure. But there is a third key. It's like baseball. Third strike, you're out. Okay. You got to go. Solo, we talked about it from the beginning, especially when we all knew Jacob Fatu was coming. We set it up and down. Solo is not the guy right now. It's going to be Jacob. It's going to be Jacob because as hardcore wrestling fans, we always knew it was going to be Jacob. We always knew the fans were going to appreciate Jacob. We watched Jacob. We knew what he was about. We knew what he brought to the table. Solo was coming from NXT, was still learning. The thing is at the time, Solo just fit into the storyline.
Yeah.
It's sad to say, but it's the truth. That's just kind of how that happened.
Yeah.
So I do agree. I just think there's a third factor that has to come into it, and I think we got to give it a little while.
So what's interesting is I think the third point will actually happen before WrestleMania, because I think what's going to end up happening is I think Solo Sikoa will have a WrestleMania singles match against Jacob Fatu. Now, what I would prefer to see, and WWE will have to do this correctly, but what I would prefer to see is the Usos with Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, 6-man tag. And I think what's going to end up ultimately happening here is that third strike, you're out type of situation, I think will happen on SmackDown. I think there's a lot of intrigue right now with what's happening with Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre going after the OG bloodline. I could see that becoming a situation where Cody, Cody's kind of got his own thing going on right now with Kevin Owens, but I think eventually that will turn to Kevin and Drew McIntyre, not only going after the OG bloodline, but at some point
but going also after the new bloodline.
The new bloodline, because I think they're just sick and tired of all this bullshit.
Yeah.
So I do like that idea of them splitting and doing a 6-man tag match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
One thing I also want to point out too when it comes to the Solo Sikoa situation is he's done a really good job in this role. Like, he has actually improved, and I think there's a lot of people, they just want to hate on Solo Sikoa just because it's like the internet thing to do. But I think if you're the WWE and you're analyzing this in real time, I think you really just got to look at it from a perspective of like, this kid comes from NXT 2.0. He gets thrown into the fire. And at first, it's a little bit of a struggle. Eventually, he comes into his own. This guy could do some really cool stuff if he is a babyface with the Usos.
Oh, for sure.
But also at the same time, too, WWE's got to be careful because if you have Solo and the Usos lose to Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, you could kind of hurt Jacob Fatu in the process. So,
right.
I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued.
Me too.
But I do think, unfortunately, the tribal chief, the bloodline,
it's coming to an end.
I don't think so.
I think the whole bloodline situation within itself, I think when you talk about Kevin and Drew, I think ultimately they are sick of it. And I do think that maybe not so soon, you know what I'm saying? But it looks like there's an ending for what WWE looks like without the bloodline eventually.
I think they're going to try to hold on to that forever. I don't think the bloodline stuff ever dies. I think even when people think it's done, I don't think it will be done. I think there's going to be a time where WWE is really just going to try to hold on to it for a while. And it kind of goes back to this whole thing with Reigns and Paul Heyman and The Rock, right? They could have used an opportunity tonight to lay that next layer to the story, and they didn't.
And they didn't.
And they're prolonging it. And I think WWE, you know, we call this the Triple H era, but in a way, the Bloodline era should kind of be the name to a certain extent because it birthed the Cody Rhodes ultimate win. It's birthed Roman Reigns fighting it out to become tribal chief and getting his family back on track.
look at how many people were made. Drew McIntyre has put on some of the best work we've ever seen Drew McIntyre put on. Kevin Owens, it turned back into the Kevin Owens that we all loved in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sami Zayn became one of the most popular figures because of Roman Reigns. Like, there's so many things to take out of this. Jey Uso becoming his self, you know, like there's so many things to take away from the bloodline and how important Roman himself has just been, you know, like so many people have been made. Amazing stuff.
So many people have benefited from Roman losing the championship in particular. But one thing I would suggest too, and I listen, you know, maybe this is where it gets NWO shitty booking, but I wouldn't mind Roman finding a way to just unite the bloodline all together. Like, I wouldn't mind it. Like, new bloodline and old bloodline.
And do what?
Listen, Roman's a part-time guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be there full time. So in my mind, the way I kind of look at it is Roman brings both bloodlines together. Jey Uso doesn't want any part of it because he's main event Jey Uso. He's going to do his solo thing. And I think Roman's just basically going to have this huge group where Roman doesn't have to be on TV all the time. They don't even necessarily have to be heel or babyface. They're just a group that exists and everybody's affiliated with each other. Like, I could see that being the thing too, you know? It sounds a little out of reach and it sounds a little crazy, but they're definitely trying to keep it going.
Super chatted $5
for sure.
If Jacob turns on Solo and the rest of the bloodline, is this the time to bring in Zilla Fatu or does he side with Roman?
So Matt's Tube of You says in a $5 super chat, if Jacob turns on Solo and the rest of the bloodline, is this time to bring in Zilla Fatu or does he side with Roman? So this is hard, right? Because I'm literally talking about Roman just uniting everybody, right? And creating a super group. Obviously, I wouldn't prefer that. I would prefer that everything kind of comes to an end. But clearly, WWE has a lot of success coming in from the bloodline. So if they bring in Zilla Fatu, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think they're going to bring him in. They haven't given him a WWE ID contract. They haven't brought him into NXT. They haven't done anything with Zilla Fatu.
I think they're going to give him an ID contract at the very least.
They haven't so far. And he's one of the more notable names in the indies. And honestly, he should. Well,
I also think it's his reckless style. Not to say like he's a reckless wrestler, but I think he has a very gritty wrestling style that maybe might not fit the WWE the way like somebody like Jacob Fatu. They obviously seen something in. Now we know that Jacob and Zilla have put on great matches in the indies, or maybe it's just as simple as they don't think he's prepared enough yet.
What I would say is instead of bringing in Zilla Fatu, if we're going to have this other bloodline, have Jacob Fatu run the bloodline with Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and bring in Hikuleo.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yep.
Yeah.
Hikuleo's in NXT. He hasn't debuted on NXT, but we know that he's in NXT. And you can bring him in, let him do stuff. I mean, dude, that bloodline is so big. it runs so deep.
I mean, bro, they got so many brothers and cousins. Rikishi,
I know.
He's planted his seed so many times where this bloodline thing could go until 2050.
Dog, this man won't stop.
So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Give it up, bro.
We'll see. But shout out to Matt's Tube of You for the $5 super chat. Great questions in the chat, guys. Definitely curious to see what happens. And we'll try to be patient, but eventually it's going to run its course. So hopefully they don't lose us. There was another super chat that we missed from WWE Fan 15. It was $2 super chat. He says Lyra or Dakota Kai for the women's IC title. Quickly, Billy, what is your thoughts on that?
Dakota Kai. I think I said it on one of the streams last week.
Yeah, I think it's Lyra Valkyria. I think they want a baby face, and I think they're going to go back to Lyra versus Becky Lynch. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Thank you, WWE Fan, for the $2 super chat. We got another super chat for $4.99 from Tattoo Nick. He says, I would love a united bloodline. I think that would be an amazing faction and a long-term storyline. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it. And I think Mike actually put a really good comment in the chat. He said, so basically a family that gets along and doesn't, but are still family. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a family.
I'm not saying they all got to interfere in the same match. I'm not saying they got to all be like heels and shit, but just like, they're
just letting it be known.
They're affiliated.
Rick Corral super chatted $5. Did you notice Brock Lesnar's name was mentioned? If not tonight, when do we, Becky? Charlotte?
Rick Corral is dropping a $5 super chat as well. Did you notice Brock Lesnar's name was mentioned? If not tonight, when do we get Becky and Charlotte? So, Rick, thank you for the super chat. Brock Lesnar's name is going to get mentioned. Brock Lesnar's not going to be on TV. They have no plans for it. Things could obviously change, but as of right now, I've been told that Brock Lesnar is not going to be on WWE TV.
Right.
As far as Becky returning, I thought it would have been perfect for the Seth Rollins CM Punk match like I predicted like 6 months ago, but we didn't get that either.
No, we did not.
And Charlotte Flair, I believe, will be back on SmackDown or the Royal Rumble. So I think we're getting closer and closer to those returns. I'm actually not going to lie. I think a lot of people would have been happy for those returns tonight. But if you're a casual viewer, you don't know who Becky or Charlotte is. So
nope,
it's not going to really matter that much in the grand scheme of things. But like I said, you got to keep one in the chamber and
for sure,
you got to keep it and save it. And if you guys want 3-hour SmackDowns to be worth watching, that's kind of the way you're going to do it. You're going to save some of those moments. Yep. And if Brock Lesnar ever does return, they'll probably do it as a surprise moment. They probably won't reveal it ahead of time because there could be some controversy from the crowd
surrounding Brock. I'm
just going to skip really quick, speaking of reactions from the crowd, because I'm not going to waste my goddamn time talking about it. But Hulk Hogan came out. 17,000 people booed the hell out of Hulk Hogan.
Booed the hell out of that man.
So WWE clearly tone deaf. Clearly tone deaf.
Did not hear a single thing that we were saying about that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I've never liked Hulk Hogan, so I don't really care. But he's controversial. He's got his issues. I don't think he adds any value to the product. 17,000 people seem to agree.
Yeah. I mean, at first I thought he was going to, I thought he came out and, the people heard the music and it got a little loud. And then I really listened and I was like, oh, they're booing him.
Yeah.
Cool. They get that man off my TV. Yeah. He was getting mad at it, too. You could tell he was frustrated.
Yeah. He went to the back and who gives a shit? Hulk Hogan, I'm sorry, bro. It's 2025. This company does not need you. Triple H, Barry Emanuel, Nick Khan. I don't know who is the one that's like, we need Hulk Hogan and we got to promote his beer. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this from me because, well, actually they should want to hear it from me because I buried the fuck out of AEW for it. But with Ric Flair, Woo Energy, AEW was promoting that garbage. WWE promoting this garbage. Both companies are dumb as fuck for that.
Give this shit up.
Sorry, but that's it. Both companies, when it comes to drink sponsorships, you could do better. Straight up, bro.
Facts.
Straight
up, Monster, somebody, dude.
I don't know. TKO, bro. They got Monster Energy and Prime and all this shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to say. I thought they had Prime, dude. Logan's killing it.
Logan Prime logo gets to be in the center of the PLEs, I guess, but. Yeah, Hogan got booed out of the freaking building, and rightfully so. I don't care about Hulk Hogan. For some reason, that bothers people on my YouTube channel, but I just never thought Hulk Hogan was a good performer, and I'm like in the minority, but it is what it is.
Okay, listen. Yeah, I mean, if you were a fan in 1989, 94, to 94, yeah, you were probably a fan of Hulk Hogan at that time. I didn't exist at that time. I was not.
Yeah.
Never have been. I wasn't very fond of just, a leg drop finishing somebody.
Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Sorry, y'all.
Okay, let's get back on track. But shout out to you guys for those super chats. Keep them coming. Okay, so we get some news. The Rock is confirmed for NXT tomorrow. That's cool. Yep. Tomorrow is New Year's Evil. I look forward to seeing what they do with The Rock and NXT.
Will be a good show.
Should be a big night for NXT ratings. Clearly, with The Rock being confirmed, NXT's been on fire. Their ratings have been really good. They're going to be in LA tomorrow, so definitely expect some surprises there. We get the John Cena promo. I don't want to spend too much time on the John Cena promo. This was another moment of John Cena coming out, waving the company flag, being the face of WWE. He did acknowledge.
I love WWE.
Yeah, he acknowledged his losses, which I thought was great. And he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, which I think is great. Logical for John Cena to acknowledge that the last 6 times that he's been in a WWE ring, he really hasn't been winning. So I definitely appreciated that, but this was another moment for the casual fans. Nothing big came out of it.
Just get them caught up. What's going on?
Yeah. And he's
easy, simple.
The farewell tour for sure.
Right.
I like the idea of Cena being an underdog. I like the idea of Cena working his way back up.
If he wins the 17th one, guess what it is? It's the same as the as the WrestleMania 21 moment. It was a miracle.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
The Penta vignette officially revealed. We talked about that. Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. Billy,
it's not happening, brother.
Tell me your thoughts about this.
I kind of figured let it be over. Yeah. Let it die. I'm past Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is going to go on and tell some really good stories. Obviously, WWE, they got her posted everywhere. She's on every banner that there is. WWE is very, very high on Rhea Ripley. Kind of figured it was the only championship that was on the line tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So to see the title change hands, that's something cool for the fans to see. Again, the new fan that might be tuning in. But overall, I mean, the match itself, it was a decent match. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything spectacular. It was just kind of what you thought. You had Dirty Dominic Mysterio getting involved, and then you had Raquel Gonzalez getting involved. I think just overall it did exactly what it needed to do. It was the end that really mattered. Yeah,
the result is what mattered. Rhea Ripley obviously won. She regains the belt, and I need this to be over with. I need this to be done with. Sucks. It sucks. I like all of them involved, but I just don't like this story, and it's done. And it's time to move away from it. Maybe next week, maybe Becky goes after Rhea or something. I don't know. But
that's kind of what I said. I was like, you can't go back to the Charlotte thing. I think you can maybe do Becky.
I wish in this transfer portal Bianca found her way to Raw, so that way we would get Bianca versus Rhea.
Well, I almost wish it was Raquel.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good on that. It's nothing. It's nothing against Raquel. It's just I want Rhea Ripley is a great worker, and I want her to go up. When we talk about WrestleMania 41, we don't know where The Rock stands.
Right.
We don't know how they're going to do main events. We don't know what the card's going to look like. But your best women's match that you could possibly make would be Rhea versus Charlotte, Rhea versus Bianca. Like, those are some really big opportunities. So you really want to, this is the first Netflix WrestleMania thing. Like, you want to go out there with a bang. You want to put on bangers. And Triple H needs to understand these storylines are amazing, but don't restrict your talent in the ring. Let them go out there. Yep. Let them throw these bangers, because when you take off those shackles and you let people really go out there, dude, some of these lapsed fans that might be tuning in would be like, damn, that was fucking great. And Rhea Ripley is already popular. I know people who don't watch wrestling and they always ask me,
No, Rhea Ripley.
they know Rhea Ripley. And I'm like, how do you know Rhea Ripley? And they tell me, they're like, she pops up on my TikTok. She's like, she's got a lot of makeup and stuff, right? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, bro, that was a sick clip. And it's like, okay, then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sick clip.
We did get The Undertaker. He returned. Thought this was kind of weird, but whatever. He comes out and he's in the bike, and him and Rhea Ripley, they ride off into the sunset.
Pissed up.
Yeah,
a little pissed up, man.
Again, this was not booked for us. This was booked for those people who are like, oh, The Undertaker.
Yeah,
pretty big stamp of approval though for Rhea to be there.
Rhea Ripley,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you're somebody who
that
knew The
ultimately
Undertaker,
told casual fans,
Yeah.
like, oh, she's serious.
yeah, keep your eye on this one because The Undertaker's with her, type of thing.
Right.
It was weird, but it's cool, I guess. One thing, I don't know if you guys saw it, because I don't know if it was part of a commercial or if it was part of like not an ad, but like I don't know if I saw it, but the Bailey Adam Pearce thing.
Yeah, I see it.
So Bailey had some sort of meeting with Adam Pearce. It looks like she's probably going to jump to Raw based on the transfer portal. So I look forward to seeing what they do. The reason why I'm bringing that up, though, is because obviously we are going to have to see some sort of follow-up with Liv Morgan now that she lost to Rhea Ripley. So how do they move forward with her? Do they move her to SmackDown? Do they break up the Judgment Day, that type of thing?
Yeah, I think that's something that you need to do. You need to put them possibly on SmackDown and let there be some stars on SmackDown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At the very least, Liv Morgan proved that she could be a world champion.
For sure.
I don't think she needs the Judgment Day anymore, but yeah,
No.
I guess that works. Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre have a match.
Yep.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was bad. Jey Uso is a great slogan. Yeet. Great entrance. Yeet.
Travis Scott,
right? Smoking.
Chilling.
Netflix, anything can happen. But Jey Uso had the whole place rocking, and he won. He sneaks the win. He sneaks the win on Drew. This is not over. So we know that. Whatever is happening with Jay, Sammy, Owens, Cody, Drew.
None of it's over.
None of it's over. Keep paying attention to it. I was
Keep
kind of
watching
shocked.
next week.
I was kind of shocked by this result, but I think it also makes sense because you're sending home, you're making the fans happy with this person winning.
Sure.
You believe it or not, though, as much as I like Jey Uso and I think he's not a bad singles guy, I just think of like, okay, Penta and Phoenix coming in, Motor City Machine Guns.
There's so many tag teams that the Usos could face.
So many tag teams that the Usos could face where it's like Jimmy and Jay would probably just be better off in the tag team division.
For sure.
But at the same time, too, it is what it is. 17,000
Jay's been
people,
doing great as a singles.
17K people yeeting is pretty insane, though. Just a great visual. That's what it was. That moment, it was a very, very great visual. And
for sure,
if you're somebody who doesn't watch WWE and you see this, you're like, whoa, this shit's lit. Like, this shit's crazy. Fact. So, for sure, great thing. Roman Reigns gets confirmed as the cover star for 2K25. We know he'll be back on Raw soon. That's
January
cool.
27th.
Yeah. Nikki Bella was in the crowd.
Yeah, really weird.
I mean,
not weird.
She talked a lot of shit about WWE.
That's what I'm saying.
But she was in the crowd.
It was weird, but it wasn't weird.
Rey Mysterio was in the crowd.
Yep. Rey Mysterio and the honored Eddie Guerrero, man.
Sick.
What a time to do it.
Yeah.
If you didn't know who Eddie Guerrero was, now you do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody kind of remembers Eddie, but a lot of people in the crowd, which was cool. I already mentioned Hogan getting booed the hell out. Then we get this awesome main event match.
Oh, man.
CM Punk versus Seth Rollins finally happens, and you're the CM Punk, Mark. You tell me about it.
Listen, I was really skeptical on who was going to win. Of course, I wanted CM Punk to win. But you think of like storyline wise and like, how do you move forward with this? CM Punk has a clean victory over Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Clean. What does Seth Rollins come out and say to that? I mean, maybe he just loses his mind and turns back into what Seth Rollins was. I'll get into it in a second. CM Punk, Seth Rollins takes place. Seth Rollins comes out. Let me tell you, the meter that popped up with the volume for like how loud it was, they showed it for Seth Rollins, and I was like, man, CM Punk's going to be a lot louder. Not the case at all. Seth Rollins, the way his music hit and the way people sang along to it was just outstanding. But the match itself taking place, I'll be honest with you, it was one of those matches where you just kind of remember what like pro wrestling is.
Yeah.
No shenanigans, no BS. Lot of reversals, lot of good move sets. We seen the pedigree on the announcer table, and then we seen him come back into the ring, hit him with the pedigree. Then, just them hitting each other with each other's finishing move. Seth hit him with the go to sleep, and then he hits him with the curb stomp, and they're kicking out at 2. And you just remember the emotion of pro wrestling. When you talk about storytelling inside of a ring, this is what we talk about. Just the feel of like, okay, yeah, I know they hate each other. Now they're kicking out of moves. Everything is lining up the way that it should. So I want to say it was Seth Rollins had hit CM Punk with the curb stomp, and he did it right by the ropes. And I said to my girlfriend, I said, he's going to roll him over that way, and he's going to try and pin him, and CM Punk's going to put his foot on the rope. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
CM Punk puts his foot on the rope. And I don't know what it was. You could tell like CM Punk was so tired. Like he just looked exhausted.
Yeah.
But the way this man carries through matches, I don't care what nobody says. You can hate him. You can love him. But the way, even at his age right now, the way he's just still going and still making it happen is absolutely outstanding. He got superplexed. He ends up lifting Seth Rollins into the GTS. Hits him with one. Goes and grabs him. He's struggling on his knee. Gets him up, deadlifts him for another one. Ultimately, 1, 2, 3, dead center of the ring. CM Punk. That's your final vision from Raw on Netflix. Obviously, letting you know that CM Punk is a very serious player here in the WWE.
Yeah, and I think this was. This continues the trend of every match had the babyface win.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird because I feel like I liked the match and I thought it was a good match. I feel like maybe I just desired a little bit more from it.
Oh, of course.
But
you can't give the whole cookie.
But then you got dirt sheets coming out and reporting today that the show is going to be an hour extra.
Yeah, like 11:30.
11:30, 11:45-ish, and they ended the show at 11:05. So for me personally, I have a problem with that because I can't blame WWE because the dirt sheets got it wrong. But I figured by the time we got to the main event, it was like 10:40-ish, roughly, maybe 10:30 something, 10:40.
It was a short match.
It was a relatively short match, and I thought when they were coming out that time, I'm like, okay, there's going to be that big moment. Maybe it is Becky turning heel with Rollins, and maybe that sets up AJ Lee coming in or something. I don't know. Obviously, fantasy booking type shit, but like, I felt like I was desiring a little bit more because it ended relatively fast compared to what I was expecting. Now, with that being said, this part is probably the most important aspect of it all. And Billy, you can kind of react to it and tell me what you think. But I do think that they're not done with Seth and Punk. I think they are going to do a trilogy between Seth and Punk. And I think it's actually going to lead to Punk being a world champion.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Punk has to it has to be this year. He has the main event. I think last year you kind of were able to like push your way through it because you had the Drew and Seth thing. But I think this year,
Super chatted $9.99. I thought Rollins would win and turn heel. I felt like that was a missed opportunity. This isn't over as I see a trilogy with it ending at WM41. Maybe Punk versus Gunther at Rumble and Rollins costs Punk?
So Phil says, I thought Rollins would win. It's a $9.99 super chat. I thought Rollins would win and turn heel. I felt like that was a missed opportunity. This isn't over as I see a trilogy with it ending at WrestleMania 40. Maybe Punk versus Gunther at Rumble and Rollins costs Punk. So what I actually want to say is this was exactly what I was going to say. This is exactly my thoughts. I don't think Punk should be in the Royal Rumble. I think Punk should get a shot at Gunther. He just beat Rollins. And I think Gunther needing Punk would be perfect, because what you can do, and if you really, really want to end night one of WrestleMania in a big way, this is the time you do it. You do Punk versus Gunther versus Seth Rollins, triple threat main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. And CM Punk could pin Seth Rollins to win the match. And that way Gunther doesn't take the pinfall. So it guarantees that his title reign ends in a safe way. And I think for CM Punk, if he were to pin Seth Rollins, you could do so much with it. He beat Seth before. Seth screws him at Royal Rumble. They have another match at Elimination Chamber, singles match. And, whatever it may be, maybe Gunther gets involved or whatever, but you use that as the opportunity to set up a triple threat between them at Royal Rumble. I think that would be the way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I do think that eventually we are going to see CM Punk with the World Heavyweight Championship. I think it's just a matter of time. And
if there's ever time to do it, you do it relatively soon, because he doesn't need a long title reign, right?
Nope.
And here's the cool thing about this is that they've planted the seed before with Roman and Punk. So maybe, just maybe, this is the way they do it. Punk gets after Gunther and Seth, and then SummerSlam, you have Punk and Rollins, or Punk and Roman. Like, not everything has to be saved for WrestleMania, bro. But Punk wants a main event at WrestleMania, and the cool thing is, if you really want to do right by your fans, you want to give them what they want. People want to see CM Punk main event. Okay, well, you have something there with Rollins, and then you put something there with Gunther. Fuck, there's a lot of unpredictability. And if you really, really want to change it up, have a fourth member of the Raw roster be in that match. What happened? Why can't we have a massive multi-man match, fatal 4-way, fatal 5-way for the World Heavyweight Championship? You're going to get Cody and Cena in the main event of night 2. That's great. And whatever happens with Roman happens with Roman. But if him and The Rock is not on the table, yeah, dude, fuck it. Give me a fatal 4-way or a fatal 5-way. Throw in Sheamus.
I'm not mad at it.
Do an elimination match or something like. I don't know.
Just bring back that excitement of the people that do have a shot.
Yeah, just something unpredictable. I don't know. That's the way I kind of look at it. So,
hey, I'm not mad at you.
Shout out to Phil for the $9.99. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah.
Overall, man, that show. I mean, again, if you're a casual viewer, I think it really just falls and stems back to that. If you're a casual viewer, then this was the show for you. Welcome back. We missed you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what that felt like.
And I'm going to say something really quick, guys. We are 2 super chats away from our super chat goal for the day. So if you guys want to help us reach the goal before we conclude the stream, that would be great. You don't have to, but if you want to, we appreciate it. There is something I do want to talk about something.
Yeah.
So basically, the biggest problem that I actually had with this episode, right? We just talked for over an hour, some really good things. We talked about the missed opportunities, but really the biggest problem that I had with Raw on Netflix was the simple fact that WWE treated this like a massive deal, but they didn't deliver us massive moments. And we understand why. This was not for us. This was not to give us crazy, shocking heel turns. This was basically a way to celebrate WWE's historical change, game changer of a decision, by being on Netflix and everything. But the biggest problem that I actually have is not even the shocking moments. It's the fact that WWE played it very safe. And I feel like sometimes the best content is when you don't play it safe. I remember the first time it was reported that Vince McMahon was not going to be booking WWE Raw, and we turn on to WWE Raw, and Triple H has the show starting off in chaos, right? It was like, whoa, what the hell is this? Like, we never expected this, right? So I feel like WWE, in a way, while I understand what they did, for people that do watch the WWE product, I think they could have done a little bit more to also cater to us. And I understand that WWE has become such a big mainstream global success.
That they don't have to.
That they don't have to. But, you know, you're not censoring the crowd. You change the way Raw looks. You're treating this like such a big deal. But at the same time, too, you didn't give me something that necessarily hooked me for next week. However, let me explain that. They gave me 4 announcements: Dakota versus Lyra Valkyria, Priest versus Baylor, Sheamus versus Kaiser, Gable versus Penta. And those 4 matches are exciting and worthy matches for next week on Raw. I'm excited about that. But tonight should have been the night where they said, we're going to give you those promos. We're going to give you all this cool stuff. But let us show you what we can do when we put on a badass card where people could go out there and wrestle. And tonight, there was far more promos and celebrity appearances. There was so much of that. And it was
Hollywood, baby.
I get it. I understand it. I truly understand why they did it. But the biggest problem of this debut episode was that they didn't do enough selling of what their product actually is. They did enough of selling us how cool WWE is and how fantastic their brand is, but they didn't necessarily sell me on the fact that, I mean, bro, like, let's not get it twisted. You have perfect example of this. Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre has their singles match. Wasn't that long of a match. It wasn't the greatest match possible, but you got the amazing entrance, right? You could have done something with it to just leave people wanting more for next week. You didn't do anything with The Rock.
Cliffhangers.
You didn't give us a cliffhanger. Even with Punk beating Rollins, you didn't give us a cliffhanger. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to complain about this on any wrestling show. Your job is to keep me hooked for future episodes. And
facts.
I think WWE did enough to tout about their success and to brag and all these different things. But I don't think they did enough to sell people on, hey, we also deliver a really cool wrestling product. And I was fine with the matches, but did I really need Hulk Hogan on my TV screen?
Probably not.
And by the way, I'm not the only person who thinks he shouldn't have been there. 17,000 people booed his ass. So
get that man off my screen.
This was a spectacle, and I understand it. And that's what WrestleMania is, right? WrestleMania is a spectacle, and this was a mini version of that, and it was tremendous success. And I'm glad that they did a great job with that. And still, I care about what's happening next week because I am a hardcore fan. I care about the women's IC title. I care about Finn Balor and Damian Priest going out there and finally concluding their storyline. Sheamus and Kaiser is a freaking major singles match that people are sleeping on, but that's going to be so fun. And Gable versus Penta, it's going to be massive. But at the same time, too, it's like they kind of just sat there and was like, this is how cool we are. This is what we do so great. And
it's easy for us, and we don't have to do too much more.
Yes, and WWE, you know, will definitely brag. They will definitely brag.
We're going to hear about 20 million people tuned in.
Is that how many viewers do you think they legitimately pulled in on Netflix?
I want to say like 15. I think that was the number I said to my girlfriend earlier. Yeah, I think they pull in 15.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have no idea what the number is going to be. I have no idea. However,
me personally, I don't. I could be overshooting here.
Yeah.
So don't, clip it if you want to and call me crazy, but yeah, no, 15 I thought was like the number in my head where I was like, that wouldn't shock me at all if 15 million people watched this show.
I mean,
at least just popped in.
All I'm saying is whatever the number is, you're going to have
WWE is going to talk about it.
They're going to talk about it, right? Because that's how WWE operates. But also, I think this is a very difficult conversation for fans of other wrestling companies who love talking about viewership, because I think it's a different playing field now. Like we can't talk about with Netflix, like, is it accurate, right? We have to trust the numbers they provide us are accurate, but also WWE is a publicly traded company, so I can't imagine them lying about it. I know Netflix's their stock was doing relatively well today. However, if WWE pulled in 10 to 15 million, for example, this is just an example. I don't think the number is going to be that high, but let's just say they did. I think WWE is clearly going to keep doing what they did today. They're going to
For
keep
sure.
trying to treat their product more like a spectacle. They will never focus on the in-ring stuff because they're going to continue staying focused on this aura, this presentation. But it will be funny having those conversations with wrestling fans. And I think you know what kind of wrestling fans I'm talking about, Billy. But it's going to be really funny when you have to compare numbers between HBO Max and Netflix. And people are going to sit there and talk about this. And listen, at the end of the day, the way I look at this is that streaming companies, it's not television, it's completely different. And to attract viewers to a streaming platform is a very difficult task. So if WWE if they have a very successful and high number, that means the WWE brand is a lot hotter than people realize. And if WWE's number is very low or disappointing, all that coolness that they do, all that cool shit about who we're the WWE and we're cool, that means nothing if your numbers are disappointing. So, I look forward to seeing what that is. But like I said, I feel like they did a great episode, but it wasn't good enough for me in order to be like, oh, I would totally watch next week.
Okay, that's fair. That's
announcements,
fair. I agree.
Their announcements did enough, but what they physically put on TV, they didn't leave me a moment with a swerve or a heel turn or something shocking. All the baby faces won. The matches were relatively shorter. A lot of unnecessary stuff was on there. Like I said, Hulk Hogan, sorry, bud, but we just don't care to watch you on our TV. And you know, you have Travis Scott and you have all these different things happening. You have all these celebrities there, and that's cool. But it
just looks fun.
It just looked like a fun event, and it didn't look like a And by the way, WWE has done a really good job. And I say this all the time, they've done a really good job of ending their shows in a way that make me intrigued to see what happens next week. However, this particular episode, they didn't do that. And I thought that was a little bit more shocking. I felt like that was a big problem.
But the thing is like fans like us, like, yeah, I'm intrigued for next week if we do see Seth Rollins and CM Punk, when are we going to get that? And what happens now? Other than that, if you're just a casual viewer who doesn't know the history of that, then all that was a wrestling match to you.
And one thing too is WWE has to introduce these characters to people. So maybe that's why they didn't do that. Maybe that's
Dario
why.
Valens,
well, Michael Cole talked about that a little bit. He talked about it on the Pat McAfee show where he explained, it's going to be.
Do you think that Gable will make fun of Penta by having someone in a Penta mask, then Pentax will come out?
Sorry about that, Billy. We were interrupted by a $9.99 super chat from Dario Valenzuela. He says, hey guys, thank you for all that you do. Do you think that Gable will make fun of Penta by having someone in a Penta mask and then Penta will come out? That would be kind of fun.
It would be.
You want to sell masks? You want to sell masks? Make the storyline about like Gable, Gable mimicking or mocking him or something,
Yeah, mocking the mask.
And then you actually have Penta come out, and then, hey, next thing you know, they start selling a shit ton of masks because that's what WWE is going to do.
Oh,
if they don't have Penta masks for sale by next week, Monday, when he debuts, if they don't do it,
we've done this wrong.
Yeah,
we've done this wrong.
Learn from the mistakes AEW made because you can definitely monetize that and make money off of it.
Absolutely.
I don't think that would be the way they're going to do it. I think what's going to happen is Chad Gable's going to come out. He's going to talk his shit on the mic. Lights go out. Fire, flames, pentas, trons will be insane. Pyro will be insane. And
Penta El Zero Miedo across that tron is just, I think I got chills.
Yeah, listen, I'm excited for it though. I'm excited, but so here's the thing. I'm excited for Penta's debut next week. I thought it was happening this week, and then WWE was
no. Sorry, pal.
Wait, and I'm like, what?
Again, WWE has always talked about how they're always thinking about the next week. They're always thinking about the next thing. So it seemed like they had tonight planned out in their head, and ultimately they had a goal, and they reached that goal. It probably, we'll find out tomorrow, but it probably did well for them.
Do you feel like they were successful tonight?
Absolutely. I think I'd be wrong to say so. If we're talking about a global scale, absolutely they were successful. If we're talking about you and I wish there could have been a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think when you talk about it from that global scale, yeah, they nailed it on the head. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
If there was ever a thing that WWE did correctly, and I said this in the beginning of the stream, but if there was one thing that they did correctly, it was the fact that they really appeared like a spectacle. They really, really showed everybody why WWE is different. And that is a massive success for them.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Dario for the super chat. Guys, one more super chat and we hit our goal for the day.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
I think we should we've talked a lot about the show, so let's open up a few minutes to just check out the
perfectly
chat.
fine. Yeah.
So if there's any super chats coming in, let us get to that before we end the stream. I'm going to take a look at what some of the members of the channel are saying. And let's see. Todd Crow says, Ango, answer Shark Attack. Okay, let's see. Where's Shark Attack? Ango, can you explain WWE to me? I haven't watched Raw in years, and this just isn't it. The storytelling could be good, but the matches are kind of mid. I'm trying to get back into it, but I don't get the hype. So I'll answer this first, and then Billy, you could kind of say. I think you and I will say the same thing because we agree on this.
Yeah.
WWE is not about in-ring wrestling. They'll never be about in-ring wrestling. If you get good in-ring wrestling from WWE, consider that a treat.
I agree, 1000%. I mean, it's storyline based. So if you're in it for a soap opera, like me, I'm not gonna lie, I am in it for a soap opera.
Yeah.
Then, hey, you're gonna enjoy the product.
Yeah, for sure.
In-ring stuff, in-ring stuff. Yeah, don't get into it for that. I'll tell you that.
And trust me when I say you will definitely get some great matches every week
For sure.
But the selling point is more of the story. So, definitely just understand that aspect of it. It's always about the story. That's the most important part. And the story doesn't have to be 6 weeks of melodramatic cinema. Sometimes the story could be something as simple as telling it all in one night. But for WWE, that's what they care about. And I think I care about that as well, more than just wrestling matches. I don't, people hate when I say this, and I get it. But yeah, it's impressive that they can wrestle in the ring, and it's impressive that they could do a lot of great moves. What's really even more impressive is when you could have me literally freaking the hell out because you just gave me a major swerve or a booking decision that I absolutely love or absolutely hate.
I was not thinking about.
That I wasn't thinking about, of course. Like, I like being swerved. I like having those moments where it's just like you're hooked, you know? I like being hooked in. And there's a lot of wrestling companies out there that exist where they give you amazing matches, but they don't give you enough layers or enough beef to sink your, you know, to just
sink your teeth into.
Yeah, and to me personally, I'm huge on this. I've been doing this YouTube stuff for a very long time, and what makes it fun is dissecting the storylines. And I talked about this earlier in the stream, but that was one of the things I didn't like about The Rock coming out. I understand it, but as somebody who watches the show and I watch what The Rock did before, and then I'm like, wow, The Rock is like this. I'm like it's cool because I get what they're doing and I understand it, but as a viewer, like, that was kind of a waste, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It didn't do anything for me.
Exactly. And that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Alberto says, Ango, do you think Tony Khan regrets letting Punk go?
I can answer that one.
What do you think?
I absolutely 1000%.
If he doesn't,
you're not doing business right. You haven't been doing business right. I don't care. I'll say it, dude. Tony hasn't been doing business right.
I mean, this is always like some controversial thing. This is where I'm a grifter.
Yeah.
I'm a grifter, and I fucking hate AEW, and I want to see the company die, and I really want them to fail and go out of business. And I just fucking no. I mean, reality is they lost CM Punk. They lost a big chunk of their audience, and I think they really, you know, for me, like when Punk was running Collision, those first few episodes were really dope, and I was like, wow, I like this.
Yeah, that first one was crazy.
Now Collision's not even a show that I care to watch, and I've admitted it several times. I do not watch it live. So
me either.
So that's I mean, that's kind of the difference, right? And it's like, I'm not trying to bash AEW, but if they don't regret losing Punk, then I would think that Punk is 100% right in the way that they view their business. And oh, well, Ango thinks AEW is running their business poorly. Who gives a fuck what Ango says? Sure, like that's fair. Like that's fair.
Yeah,
I think the big thing is though, and I responded to a tweet about this, and this was kind of funny, but somebody was like, where is it? I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna read it because I thought it was actually kind of funny. Somebody put out a tweet. They said, no, just because Kenny Omega was hurt for 800 days last 3 years and still is great and as always was, doesn't mean he should be beating Jon Moxley. Mox set a path leading to Darby. Omega probably goes for Okada on the C2 title. Don't like the direction, don't watch. And my response to that was, good idea. Telling people don't watch has really benefited them in 2024. Mind you, let me just say, Kenny Omega is like the Roman Reigns of AEW and should be the Roman Reigns of AEW. But let's go ahead and put Darby Allin in that position to carry the belt over him at a time where the numbers are extremely low. So
no, you slap that thing on Kenny Omega and you run with that.
You run with it, right? Because if you have one of these kind of guys, like it's important, right? And like that's the thing.
Sure.
That's massive. And listen, like I think it's really important. You watch a product, and at the end of the day, you tell me don't watch. You're alienating me because you want to gatekeep what you think is good. But if I criticize something or don't think it's good, you're telling me don't watch. Man,
yeah, don't tell me that. Especially AEW right now.
Brother, I literally just spent an hour talking with you about how WWE did not book the show for us. And I was like, yeah, it's good. But like they could have done a lot more, right? But I understand why they did it. It was because they're trying to show people an opportunity to get back into WWE. AEW doesn't do that. So they're just booking a show that just doesn't pertain to me, and that's fine. I probably won't watch. And the thing is, the reality is, if I stop watching, I'm not the only one. So that is something to definitely pay attention to. Phil said in the chat, I like being wrong for pro wrestling. It allows the fandom to continue to grow. We all forget to be pro wrestling fans. We all forget to be pro wrestling fans. So when you're wrong and they do something really cool, it makes for a better experience.
Yep.
Just Humble 85 says, so we're not going to discuss Punk wearing the Brawl in jacket. Which is
true. I did peep that the triple, what was it, the triple X on the back.
Yeah, what a big fuck you to AEW after that.
You know he did that on purpose.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely I don't know. Punk looked great tonight, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Punk looked great.
Loved it.
Yeah, me too. You can hate on him, you can say whatever you want. For sure.
More time, and I would have been happier with that. But again, it is what it is. I know I'm excited.
I was stressing yeah, dude, me too. I know I was stressing about going till 11:30, but I was like, yeah, no, I think we could have went to 11:30. I think it would have made a lot of sense to go to 11:30.
I don't think these dirt sheets are right in the sense that WWE will go 3 hours or 2 hours. I think it's always going to be a few minutes before 11 or a few minutes after 11, and that's it.
Yep.
They're not dumb, bro. They're not going to do that.
No, because they understand people.
Yeah. We got jobs. Yeah. We got, and they did their post show, and they know that Angle's got to stream right after, so they gotta be considerate.
Come on, man. They know we got to be here. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
For sure.
We didn't hit our super chat goal. We were one super chat away from hitting our goal. It's okay.
I know somebody wants to drop one.
It's okay. It's not a big deal, guys. Either way, the post shows are coming back as long as you guys are engaged. You guys did a really good job in the chat. Just a couple things I want to read before we call it a day. Ashu Punjabi says Darby Allin is a Seth Rollins of AEW. I would say Darby Allin is not the Seth Rollins of AEW.
Darby Allin is the Darby Allin of AEW.
Yeah, I think Darby has his own identity.
For sure.
I also don't think he's a draw for AEW in a sense, but I think he is.
Nope.
I would definitely have him be part of this like a focal point of the company. I just want to make him world champion.
Yeah, I think if you market him, Darby Allin's one of those people that you can market towards kids.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how he feels
about that. Skateboards and everything.
Yeah.
Face paint. I mean, it's yeah.
Wump Donkey 24/7 says WWE killed it tonight. Production was out of this world. Matches were great. The promos, interviews were great, and everyone looked fantastic. Yeah, for sure. They definitely looked good. That's what WWE is good with. They are amazing when it comes to production and stuff. I agree. Tattoo Nick showing some love. We hit our super chat goal. $1.99. Please stop the AI. If I hit my super chat goal every day for a week, I will never use an AI theme song again. I don't know. To be honest with you, I just thought it was a little fun. It's kind of cool.
I got to hear. There were a couple of versions that I got to hear.
So really interesting. Brandon Thurston just came out and says Levesque on viewership tonight in non-specific terms. Early numbers are very strong, and Netflix executives are very pleased.
Shocker.
So we'll see. Triple H did like a press conference or something.
Oh,
He was
probably,
happy that
for
Jey
sure.
Uso didn't hit the joint. What the hell? Oh,
Dude, I
Tattoo
was
Nick. Hold
cracking
on.
up.
Tattoo Nick says not the music, the super chat AI. It's not AI. It's TTS, text to speech. I thought you were talking about the music. Yeah, no.
Some people don't like the text to speech.
The text to speech thing though is very cool because it makes us stop whatever we're talking about and
Yeah,
directly
uh-huh.
focuses on you as the viewer.
Right.
So that's why I put it for $5 or more. Because it literally whatever we're doing, and like you are. Sometimes what happens when super chats are less than $5, you don't like they don't pop up, right? Or it takes a second to show. But when it shows the text to speech and it generates, like it automatically cuts me off. That's the only reason why I do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got you, Tattoo Nick. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we could come to a compromise. We'll see.
It's funny. That's funny, dude.
Yeah, just overall, it was cool.
Yeah. Good show overall. Not mad at it.
Yeah. Next week,
Better give me something good.
WWE, you cannot fuck with me.
No.
I
Because
want-
now I'm a fan. Now I'm a fan.
I'm a new wrestling fan. You gotta give me something. Good.
yeah.
I'm excited to see what next week looks like based on what they announced, which is really stacked. Hopefully, less celebrity promo, Hulk Hogan shit, whatever.
Yeah.
Just no Hulk Hogan.
Please leave Hulk Hogan in Florida, bro.
I'm sorry, brother, but I never cared about Hulk Hogan.
Brother.
I think the only time I
neither.
actually enjoyed watching Hulk Hogan was when I was a little kid and he was Mr. America and he tried to pretend like he wasn't Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, on SmackDown.
That shit was so cringe too. But as a little kid, you know.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it is what it is. But all right, guys, we are going to call it a night. It's 12:41 a.m. and yeah, we'll be back live tomorrow night after NXT. The Rock will be on NXT. It should be a fun episode.
Yep. It'll be a
Live
good
post
one.
shows.
New Year's
listen,
Evil.
This is how it's gonna work. I'm gonna be dead ass honest, so blunt. These live streams, post shows will only continue if you guys are in the chat having a good time. If
Hanging
you guys,
out.
If
That's
you guys
it.
ain't having fun and hanging out, I swear to God, I don't have fun and hang out. So it has nothing to do with super chats or new members, which by the way, thank you guys for the super chats and members. But if you guys aren't in the chat engaging and you guys don't enjoy it, then I don't really enjoy doing it.
Here's the thing. Y'all show up, we show up.
Yeah. It makes it more fun to talk about wrestling with you guys and reading your comments and engaging with you guys.
It does.
I'm always going to encourage the chat and that kind of thing. But I do appreciate you guys pulling up and being here. And the stream already has over 5,000 views, which is really awesome.
Amazing.
So hopefully we get some, fun time tomorrow. And shout out to all of you and thank you guys for stopping by. And I'm going to drop a poll on the YouTube channel and you guys could vote over all your thoughts as well. So Billy's on YouTube at Billy DTKO.
Nope, just Billy TKO
Billy
on this
TKO.
one.
And then on X, he's Billy DTKO. So
Yeah, trying to get that fixed, y'all.
yeah, so we'll see what happens, but make sure you guys follow him and subscribe. And if you guys aren't subscribed to me, you're missing out because I'm like, I'm Ango.
Yeah, that's the guy.
I'm the guy. Tango with Ango.
Right.
Peace.
Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Backstage drama, full of armor. Who's the charmer? Tag teams break dreams, plots.